You have found Life in the 1900s newspapers, where I read the actual words from vintage newspapers to you. Today, we're in the swingin' 30s. In 1933, they had the Chicago World's Fair. I think there's nothing more humorous than watching ladies with wardrobe malfunctions. Here's a quick glimpse of the 1933 Chicago World's Fair. In the Paris exhibition at the fair, they even featured famous fan dancer Sally Rand. Don't you worry, she's actually wearing a full bodysuit. Another World's Fair in the 30s was the 1939 New York World's Fair. If you stay tuned to the end of this video, there is some very funny clips of things that happened at that fair. But first, let's read today's paper. We are reading the Henderson Daily News from Henderson, Texas, dated June 26, 1935. As you may know from watching my videos from before, I like to do the unusual news in the newspapers, and this one caught my eye. This lad likes his black widows. Conna, Texas. Danny Sawyer, 6, was not particularly impressed when his father exhibited a black widow spider imprisoned in a glass jar and began lecturing the family about the insect's deadly qualities. He left the room and returned shortly with something concealed in his chubby fist. Opening his hand, he displayed before his horrified parents an adult black widow, red hourglass markings and all. "That's nothing," he told them proudly. "I've got lots of them in my playhouse." He did, an even half dozen. That was yesterday. Today, he doesn't have them anymore. Where the flying fishes play. Not quite on the road to Mandalay, but off Catalina Island, Clark Gable finds amusement between scenes, taking pot shots at the flying fishes. You see him here, dressed in a leading role for Mutiny on the Bounty, lolling aboard a replica of the famous schooner, while the next scene is being prepared for him. Model house violates law, Salt Lake City, Utah. What to do when a model house violates a city law? That's what L.J. Clements wondered after he bought a model house built as a home modernization project and was informed that it did not meet the chimney and fire requirements. He and the city dads are still arguing. I know what he could do. He could move his house like this feller.
In these dangerous times where only the men of imagination can survive in a world of rigid economy and fierce competition, we can't help but salute the enterprising genius of Tom Keeping, who has cornered the market in the window washing industry. In a bold attempt to increase business instead of going to the customer's house to wash the windows, Tom moves the house to his factory. And for rush jobs where the customer must have 24-hour service, Tom uses atomic-powered submarines to whisk the houses back and forth at double speed. A Funny World salute to Tom Keeping, Window Washer of the Week.
This party swept Hollywood stars off their feet, discarding dignity, poise, and a plume, to stagger, slide, whirl, and plunge through one of the maddest and most merriest evenings to the history of Hollywood. Carol Lombard put on this gala and called it the Fun House, which lived up to its name. At right from bottom to top, Cary Grant, Toby Wing, Michael Leeson, Betty Ferson, Cesar Romero, and Lois Wilson cling for dear life, just before landing in a merry heap at the bottom of the slide. Let's see what's showing at the movies. At the Strand, Norma Shearer, Frederick March, and Charles Laughton in the Barrettes of Wimpole Street. At the Victory Theater, 5 cents and 10 cents matinee every day, now showing 2 big features. First, Red Morning, with Raymond Hatton, Regis Toomey, and Steffi Duna, a beautiful girl adrift in the South Seas, hunted by savages, hounded by white men. And the second big feature is Lottery Lover, a Fox picture with Lou Ayres, Pat Patterson, and Peggy Fears. Hollywood Roundup, Hollywood, June 26. Lydia Roberti, blonde Polish actress, and Bud Ernst, who met in a hospital, were Mr. and Mrs. today. The marriage and honeymoon was even more speedy than the courtship, for the couple hopped into a plane and dashed over to Yuma, Arizona, and back, all within a space of a few hours. Mrs. Roberti and Ernst, a radio executive, struck up a conversation while each was convalescing in a hospital. They rode around the corridors together in wheelchairs, and when they came out, announced they were going to be married. Janet Gaynor, who suffered a skull concussion recently when she bumped heads with Henry Fonda, her leading man, in Way Down East, was ordered to withdraw from pictures today for at least 6 or 8 weeks by studio physicians who observed she appeared shaky.
taunt me. How can you make me care this way? It isn't fair for you to want me if it's just for